Come on, YouTube. Just waiting for YouTube, you guys. I don't know what's wrong with it. Come on. Hopefully, you'll get to YouTube today. All right, cool. All right. By the way, I like to wish my hold on for a second. By the way, I like to wish my daughter a very, very happy birthday. Today is my youngest daughter's birthday. She's 18 years old today. Happy birthday, McKenna, if you're listening. Yeah, she's turned 18 today. Hallelujah. Praise be to the living Elohim. I'm so excited
Happy
for her.
birthday.
Happy
Hallelujah. Happy
Hallelujah.
birthday,
Happy
yeah.
McKenna.
birthday.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
And a
Hallelujah.
beautiful
Birthday.
day to celebrate
Yes.
it on.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Hey, right? A Shabbat, right?
Yes.
She
Yes.
Well,
went out
Shabbat.
last night, had the best time of her life.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
18 now. So I remember the day when she was born. But it was time just goes by fast, everyone, and you have to appreciate the gifts that the Most High gives you.
Hallelujah. And
You
that's your
really do.
baby, right?
That's my baby. Yeah.
Okay, then. Congratulations to you and Rivka too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
hallelujah.
Yeah, 18
Yeah.
years. So that's my
Right.
youngest. I'm still her dad, and yeah, I'm always going to be her dad. I'm always going to be there for her. So no matter what it is, that today they say because you turn 18, you're an adult. I don't see it like that. I see it like it's a process of growth and development. As long as I'm here on the earth, I'm going to be her dad. And, I want to just wish her a happy birthday. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for coming today. This is a great lesson. By the way, this is the new beginning of our Torah cycle. Everyone should be super duper excited about what it is, right? And what's going to happen and what we're going to learn. We finished our cycle and now everything is pretty much done. We've gathered in everything we did for the whole year. And now we're about to begin another process and we're about to go on the journey again. Okay. And what I've learned is, it doesn't matter how many times you've been on this cycle, there's always going to be something you're going to pick up. And even if people have been on it longer than you, it doesn't matter because you're getting fresh information and everyone else is getting. So when you get on the cycle, just say you just got here like a month ago or 2 months ago, it's not like you're not getting the information and all of us are all getting the same thing. Okay. So it's always new. It's always refreshing. It's always good. Okay. I'm excited about this tour portion because the Most High has shown me some different things that I haven't seen in the years past. I've been doing this for over 15 years, and I got to say, I found something different. Okay, something a little bit different than I've ever seen before. So I want to be able to share that with you all today. So praise be unto Yahweh for His mercy and His compassion. By the way, if I say anything that may be a little bit off or whatnot for you, just do your research and come and let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it. Okay. So I don't want anyone to get offended at what I'm going to say. If you do, then just like, let's talk about it. Okay. Also, too, I want you to understand something. I would ask that we would all allow Yahweh's words to speak to us. Okay. I'm not Yahweh, and you all know this. I don't have any power. I'm nothing, okay, except for your brother. But other than that, let's let his word speak to us. Let it speak to us individually. Let it speak to us collectively, and let's see what we can get from it. Okay, let's do that together. All right, we're a wonderful family. This is a great mishpaka. Okay, so hallelujah, praise be to Yahweh. I'm going to share my screen now. I'm super excited. You guys, I get nervous. I don't know why my heart starts beating really fast. I don't know. After all
Hakika.
this time. Yes.
I just want to make sure we're streaming on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely, Dawid. Yes. Yes, absolutely. We are streaming. Hallelujah. Can't forget that. Now, let me take myself off screen right quick so you guys don't have to look at me and let's focus because this was about focusing on what we're going to learn today. We all should have read our Torah portion this week. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, here we are. Bereshit. Okay. Bereshit. That's how you say in English, or excuse me, in Hebrew, in a beginning. It's not in the beginning, it's in a beginning. And we're going to talk about that because that's very important. Okay. So there's a few things that we're going to cover today. We're going to cover creation, we're going to cover the order, and we're going to cover who's chosen. Okay. Look what Yahweh said. This is what Yahweh said. Okay. And a lot of people have a problem with this. They're trying to give credit to someone else. It says, I am Yahweh who makes all things, who stretched out the heavens all alone, who spreads out the earth all by myself. Okay. This is not contradictory to what is written in the book of Proverbs, where it says that wisdom said that she was with Yahweh from the beginning and she was with him when he was making the earth and all those sort of things. Okay. And all the abundance of it. Now, what we find here in creation is that there were already things that are already here. Okay. So can somebody tell me what was already here when the Most High gets here or when he came here to this planet? What was here?
Yahweh.
Angels.
We have water. We have Malachim, what they call angels. We have what else?
The void.
Yeah, we got void and we got chaos. That's something. We got a void,
Right.
we got chaos. We got tohu, bohu. We got emptiness. We got misery and deep darkness in the deep pit.
Chokmah.
What you say?
Chokmah.
Yeah, we got Chokhmah, we got wisdom. She's available. Okay, but Yah said that he did this all by himself, and there was no one with him. So if someone comes along and says that they created something and they were there, they had no part. This is something. What it is, everyone, is that no one can add to anything that Yah has done. This is the reason why he's saying this, that I've done this alone. There's no one with me. I spread it all by myself. He's telling us about his power. And he's telling us about all the things that he's made. So everything that you and I are experiencing right now has been because of Yahweh. Just like McKenna, her birthday today. That happened because of Yahweh. The body that she's in is because of Yahweh. The joy that she has is because of Yahweh. The age and the years that she's had, Yahweh said, I'm going to allow you to participate and see those years and see those days and see those months and see those seasons. I'm going to allow you to eat the food that I provided for you for all that time. I'm going to give you both a mother and a father to love and care for you during that time, just like he did for every last one of us. You see? And so here we have Yahweh telling us that I'm the one. I'm the one who's done all this by myself, and there's no one else. Okay? So we're going to dig a little bit deep into creation, order, and chosen. Okay? The COC. That's what I would call it today. And let's thank Rivka for her art forms or her pictures that she's provided for our lesson today. All praise be to Yahweh. All right, so the first part of this Torah portion is called Bereshit, right? And Bereshit has to do with what we say the Resh. And in Hebrew, the Resh is the name of the letter, and that would be this letter right here. So you may say, well, why are you always bringing up this Hebrew? Because this is what your scriptures are written in. This is what the Most High chose. He chose this language to want to talk to. If he wanted to speak to us in another language, he would have wrote it in there and he would have said it. But this is the original text in terms of the language and the culture that goes behind it. Okay. So this name of this letter, okay, is really called Rosh. Okay. But inside of the word Bereshit or Bereshit is the word Resh. And Resh and Rosh is exactly, well, they're the same letters, which is the R, the S, and the H. And then, of course, they have an O and they have an E right here as a vowel, right? So here, the R is this letter. The SH is this one right here, okay? Rosh, right here, SH, okay? So we're going to talk about that, right? We're going to break it down so you can kind of understand what he's talking about. So what he's saying is in a beginning, at the head of things, because that's what a rosh is in Hebrew, this letter means a head. And the head represents the chief, the ruler, the beginning of something, a beginning, like the top, that the head is the beginning of something, it's the top, it's the summit of something, it's the very top, it's the chief. Okay. The next letter basically is an aleph right here. And this one represents, as you know, an ox, which means strength, leader, teacher, guide, as we always talk about. Okay. And secondly, we have here, or thirdly, forgive me, is the sheen. And the sheen is this letter, this sh sound. Okay. This is the r sound like an R. This is the sh sound as an SH. So you got your two Hebrew letters today that you learned, and aleph is silent. Okay. The aleph is silent in this case when we're talking about the different sounds. Okay. But they use it sometimes to represent a vowel, and that's a whole nother topic we're not going to go into. But basically, this last letter right here represents two teeth. So your front two teeth is a sheen. Okay. So if you touch your front two teeth, that means a sheen in Hebrew. And you use those teeth to press down on something to apply pressure. Okay. And also, two, since it's two teeth, it represents double. And this is the reason why they use the word, and I'll put it up right here and see if someone can tell me if you know something. Someone take a guess what this word is. It's part of your Torah portion. Just sound it out. Shema.
Shema.
Shamayim.
Shamayim. Yes, Shamayim. And what is the Shamayim?
The heavens.
It is the heavens, but the Shamayim used to just be the waters, but now it has turned around and called the sky, which is the waters, Shamayim. So the heavens are just the sky that's above our head. Okay? The Shamayim. He also uses the word or this letter, the sheen, to begin the word for another SH and an M and then a ah sound. What is it called? It's a command that Yah tells us all the time.
Shema. Shema.
Shema. There you go. Shema. And Shema means to listen. Okay. And obey. Okay. Then he uses the sheen again, and he gives a SH and an M and an R sound. So you go sh, shamar. And what does shamar mean?
Guard, protect.
It means guard and protect. Okay. So the idea behind this letter, and of course, here it is. This would be the first tooth, and that would be the second tooth if you flipped it upside down. Okay. But they use this letter too to talk about what they call the Shanayim. Okay, not Shamayim, but Shanayim. And Shanayim means double. It means two. Okay, or Shane. Okay. They also use it for several other words. Okay. But my point is that this letter represents two. It means pressure, right? And so here, when Yah talks about the Rosh, or he talks about this letter Resh right here, be Reshit, okay, because that's what it is. If I put a B right here, that means in, and then I put an I or a Yod or a T right here, Bereshit, okay? That's all it is, Bereshit, Bereshit. So the Bereshit is talking about in a beginning, not in the beginning. The reason why it's not the beginning and it's a beginning is because there were things that already existed. Question, did the ground already exist?
Yes.
Yes, it did. And what had to happen in order for it to appear?
Gather the waters.
Yah had to separate the waters. Okay, and he did that several times. He separated the waters from the waters, and he made two waters. This is where you get the Shamayim from, because the Shah here tells you the Mayim means water. Okay, so if you got Mayim by itself and you take this letter out of here, Mayim, let me spell it right here in English for everybody. Mayim. Okay. M-A-Y-I-M. Mayim. So the Mayim is waters. So when the Most High had to, create the sky and the heavens, he separated the waters from the waters because there were two of them. And he split them. And then once the water that was left on the earth, he said, let it gather into one place. And what he gathered the two is he divided the two in order so he can have one, which is Echad. Okay. Are any other examples that you guys know of that he took two and divided it so they can be singular, or take one and divide it into two?
How about
Ish.
the day?
Okay, well, so we got some good stuff. Someone said the Ish. And the Ish is the what? What's an Ish?
Man.
Good. And he divided the man into two. Because he took from the man, he divided him and took from him and created another one and called her Isha. Okay. Sister Azania said the day. Okay. Sister Azania just tapped in. Because the first day that he made was Yom Echad, which is excellent, Azania, because you just tapped in. It wasn't the first day, it was only Echad. Now there's a difference between the first day, because if it was the first, it would call Rishon, like a firstborn, like my son. His name would be called the Rishon. Okay? Yom Rishon, that's the first day. So in Hebrew, they have what they call that'd be the first. In Hebrew, they have what they would call numbers, and the numbers will be divided into two types. One would be called an ordinal number, and the ordinal number will be the one that comes in order, like first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and so forth and so on. Okay? Ordinal. And the other one is called a cardinal number. So you can look it up, cardinal. C-A-R-D, cardinal. Okay? So the cardinal. So you got an ordinal number and you got a cardinal number. The cardinal numbers are just numbers like I got, or I have, Big Mama hit me in the mouth if I said I got. I have one apple, or I have two apples, or three apples. It wouldn't be my, and if I ate it, it would be, my second apple that I had, or that I ate or devoured. So what you have is numbers that are one, solids, and then you have other ones that are put in order. So going to our Torah portion, he didn't say this was the Yom Rishon. He didn't say this was the first day. There is no first day. There is no first day. Listen to me carefully. Okay, Yah says Yom Echad. You can go right there and check it, verify it. Okay, verse number 3 tells you Yom Echad. So that day was day one. Okay, then the following day was called the second day, called the Shani. Again, you will hear the word sh, which is going to that letter sheen, Shani. Okay, that's Shani. Okay, so that's the second. And then he goes to the third day, Shalishi. Okay, Shalishi. Then he goes to the fourth day. Okay, so here's the bottom line. Sister Azania tapped into it. I don't know if she realizes it, but she said something that's very, very profound. Do you understand what you just did? Sister Azania, do you
Yes.
understand? Okay, so tell us what you know.
When you said the day, so you wanted one thing that was divided into two entities, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and he did. And so that was, divided. It was evening, right?
Yeah.
And then and I guess sunrise or morning, is
It's
that
morning. Yes.
right? Yes.
So yes. So he divides this yom, right? And he says, okay, well, I'm going to divide it, but it's a little deeper than that, Akoti. What it is that Yah only made one day. And then he went back to work on that same one day that he made, the day one. And then on the second day, he didn't create a second day. He went to work on the same day that he started on. And then he came back again on the third day. You understand? And he went back to that same day that he worked on. So what he was doing was building upon the work that he started. Okay, you follow what I'm saying? He only did it six. He went there. He did it 6 times. Okay.
Right.
But it's not the first day, day one versus all the other ones are in ordinal numbers, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Every other reference to this in particular day is Yom Echad. So what he's saying is that this day is unified, is solid. Okay. And then he goes back and he works on it on several different times. He works on the third, he works on the fourth, he came back on the fifth. On the fifth day that he worked on it, the sixth day he came back and worked on it, and the seventh day he didn't do anything. But it's still considered the seventh.
Mhm.
Because on that particular day, he did nothing. He ceased from all of his work. But it all started with Yom Echad, not Yom Rishon. Does everyone understand this?
I think you're saying that the first one is when you say that's not that's a cardinal
Yes,
number,
that's a cardinal.
and
Yes,
and the rest of the ones are not cardinal.
they're
They're
not cardinal. They're ordinal. Yes. So it would just be, and this would be the first, excuse me, the second, and the next one would be the third. Okay. So that's what he did, just to give you a little heads up. Okay. So what he did was anything that has a beginning is what he had to do was to establish it. So what he's doing on day one is just establishing the foundation. Yes, Akoti Imiya.
I'm sorry, Akika, you're breaking up a bit, but just for my understanding, what you're saying is on that first day, the Yom Echad is like a foundation, and then on top of that foundation, you're building your slab and then your walls, and
Yes.
then a further slab on top of it to go. Right, okay, so got you.
Yes.
So it's not a new
Yes.
thing created, it's just building upon on top of it until you get to the very top, and then it's done.
Yes.
That's kind of how I'm
Yes.
understanding it. Right, thank you.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. So it's like him going into a construction project. Okay. And he gets there and he establishes the foundation. It's okay. Well, right. The foundation's already there. So the earth was already here. And someone tell me if I'm not saying what's right. The earth was already here. The water was here. The land, the soil was here. Everything was, some of the elements were here. Correct? Yes? Yes.
Yes.
Everything
Yes.
was here. Okay. So the foundation was here. That's the point. So he's coming in to do a renovation. Okay. Just kind of bring that out. Now let's dig into the idea of creation. Because it says in the beginning, God's created the heavens and earth. That's what they would say in English. Okay. And the reason why, and we're going to deal with the God's part in a minute, but let's just basically deal with the bara. Okay. Let's deal with this part of created, because that's what's in your Bibles, and this is what you've been taught all your life. So we need to find out, what does it mean to create? All right. So let's find out what it says, because we know what Rashid is, but Rashid means in a beginning. It wasn't the beginning, it's in a beginning. Okay. So let's figure it out. So here is the word called bara. Okay. You guys see that? It's right here. That's how you say it. Ba-ra. You guys can say that, right? Ba-ra. Bara. Okay. This is what it looks like in English. Here it is. Ba. And the next one is ra. Okay. So this is the B is this letter right here. And the R is this letter right here. You could teach yourself to read Hebrew if you want it. And you don't have to learn sentences at one time. Just learn one word at a time. Okay. And you can do this on Bible Hub or whatever. This is how I began my journey. And I said, okay, well, if this letter is the B right here, and this is the sound, I already know the sounds, then where do those A sounds come from? Where are those long vowels? Means long. Where's that come from? Oh, that's right here. That's this symbol right here. That's ah, like this. That's ah. This right here is this right here. Bara. Okay, that ah right there. All right. Anyway, my point today is not just to teach you how to say it, but my point is to tell you what it means. In English, I want you to hear me and hear me well. In English, they are telling you something that's not necessarily true. They're telling you what it means from their culture. Okay. So when they wrote it in English, they're telling you in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's not what it says in Hebrew. The word created is an error. It's not the true understanding. Okay. Because created means to be an abstract term. All right. And I want you to look at what they have down here right quick, because grammar is important. And grammar I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm not trying to throw a whole bunch of stuff at you. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to give you some understanding. The understanding is this, is that the letter V right here is a verb, and it tells you what kind of stem it's in, meaning how is this action being done? Is it done forcefully? Is it being done, causatively? Is it done simply? And so the bottom line is when the Most High bara, he did it in a very simple way. Okay. Right. So it's telling you everything he did is very simple for him. It's like, like you're just speaking very gently. It's like, doing something without a whole bunch of force. Okay. And this next thing here, PERF, means perfect. Okay. So now it's telling you that the actions are done. So whatever this bara is, has been done in a very simple way, because the V right here is an action. So the action was done in a very simple way, and it was done. It's complete, because PERF means perfect. Okay, that's an abbreviation for perfect. And perfect in Hebrew means to be done, and it means to be finished. Okay, so if it's finished, then you and I should know that when we're reading chapter number 1, okay, this author, the person who wrote it, is giving us an idea of something that's already been finished. So they're not speaking from a place of them being there at that time. They're telling you, what you can see right here, this ED right here tells you this, that is past tense. So perfect means finished. It means in the past. It's the past. So if you're reading it and you're thinking the person who's writing it is there actually when it's happening, is misinformation. It's not true. Also, too, is telling you who's doing the action, which you and I need to understand. It says third person masculine singular. So what does that mean? Well, we got a first person, we got a second person, and we got a third person. There are no fourth person, no fifth person, and no sixth person. Okay. The first person will be I. Okay. Or it could, if it was plural, it would be us. Okay. Hear me? Right? Second person will be you. Singular. And if it was plural, it would still be you. To a group. Like a whole bunch of men, you guys. If I say, hey, you guys, I'm talking to you. Like, if I'm speaking to Israel, you. I'm talking, if I'm speaking right now to all of us now, I'm talking to you. You guys right now are the second person. I'm first person. I'm talking to you. Now, if you and I were having a discussion about someone else, right, that's not here in our conversation, then it would be them or they or he or her, okay? But if it's singular, it would be he. Hey, I don't really like him. It would be him. He's not speaking. He's not right here. Or if I don't really like him, it could be, hey, do you remember what she told you? She's not even there, but you're talking. You and I are having a conversation. We're talking about she. It could be third person, feminine singular. But this is a third person masculine singular. So it's letting us know the individual that is doing the action is referencing a individual. And that individual singular would be he. Okay. So in Hebrew, it says, in a beginning, he created, and it tells you who's doing the action, which would be Elohim. So a lot of people think since it says Elohim and that's plural, then that means a whole bunch of different gods. But they don't understand the Hebrew language that tells you, they let you know if it was plural doing the action, if it was a whole bunch of individuals doing the action, it wouldn't be bara, okay? It would be baru. That's what it would be, baru. The u on the end means more than one. So here it's letting you know only one individual is doing this work, singular. I hope you guys can capture that, okay? The next thing that we understand about this word bara, okay, bara, in Hebrew, it doesn't mean create. It does not mean create. So this changes our narrative. The action of it is to feel. That is, action means the verb. Okay. And we know that it's a verb call. So the call means that it's a very simple way. Okay. Call means simple. So the person who's doing the action is doing it in a very simple way. So according to Hebrew, the one who's doing it in a very simple is the one who is feeling the earth. And that makes more sense because it's really talking about Yahweh, instead of bara creating, Elohim borrowing, bara, he's going to point you directly what he's going to feel. So what did he feel? He filled the heavens and he filled the earth. So the next question is, what did he fill it with? Okay. And so in Hebrew, bara means fat, grain that is fed to the livestock and making them full or fat. So the concrete meaning is to be made full or to be made fat. In order to make something full, you have to fill it. Okay. So when it says Yahweh is making fat the earth, he's making fat or filling the heavens. So what did he fill the heavens with? And what did he fill the earth with to make it full and to make it fat? Somebody give me some ideas. What did he put in the heavens?
The sun, the moon, the stars.
Yes. What else did he put up in the heavens? How did he make the heavens? Remember?
Water.
Yeah, they put the waters up there, but he had to divide the waters from the waters with what?
Rakia.
They call it a rakia, which is called a dome. Yah put a dome to separate the waters from the waters. There are waters over your head. That's why the sky is blue. Okay. The dome in Hebrew is called a rakia. Okay. Ra and a Q. Kia. Okay. Rakia. Okay. So he put a rakia over us, a dome, and that dome is made out of metal. Okay. Translucent metal that he beat it out to make a dome. Okay. And this is where you get your thunderstorms and you get all these things. Yes, Michelle.
The word rakia sounds so similar to tequila.
Yes. Sounds like takia, which is the sound that you make on a shofar. So going back to what Yah has said about filling, when you talk about him filling, he filled it with waters. He filled it with the sky. He puts the birds, he fills them with the birds in the air. So as you can see in your photo over to the right, they're flying. He puts the clouds there. He puts the rain there. He put the stars are inside of the dome. He put the moon inside of the dome. He put all these powers. He put these other stars inside of the dome. Okay. So that's when he talked, what did he fill the earth with? What did he make the earth fat with? What did he fatten her up with?
He put fish in the sea, birds,
Yes.
animals.
Yes, bird, animals, grains, trees, insects, everything. Yah had filled the earth. So this makes more sense than to say that he just created. That's an abstract term. Okay? That's an abstract term. We don't want to do that. I've already touched on this. We talked about how they say that, a lot of people say that there were gods with him that did this because of this word Elohim right here. The reason why they're saying that is because it has a plural ending. But what they're not looking at, everyone, in Hebrew, the sentence structure is the verb always precedes the noun. So the verb describes who is doing action. So this is a 3MS. This is a third person masculine singular. This is a big deal. This right here is a plural noun. How can a singular perform a plural? Or, how can a plural perform a singular action? When it talks about Elohim, that im right there, this plurality right here, means that it's his powers. That's the reason why he doesn't give his name. He says Elohim. So it says Bereshit bara Elohim. Not many gods, just the power of powers. The power of the sun. Yah has the power of the moon. He gives the light to the moon. He gives it to the stars. He gives the power of the oceans. He gives the power of the clouds. He gives the powers of the storms. He gives the power of life. He gives the power to the soil. He gives power to everything. Everything has power because of Yah. See? So don't let anyone come to you and tell you that there were more than one, because that opens you up and everyone else up to idolatry. Because what they're doing is robbing Yah from his credit of him creating the heavens and the earth. When we clearly have seen that he said, I've done this all by myself, and there is no one with me. Now we have, what was Yah doing? Forgot which one of the sisters had mentioned that it's like putting a foundation in the house. What Yah was doing, everyone, was coming in and doing a renovation on this planet. Okay. And the whole purpose behind this is, after the renovation, Yah said, he saw it and it was good. Everything he did. And the question that we would have to ask ourselves, after the work that we have done for the last 6 days, can we look on it today and say that it is good? Can we say that what we have done has been what they would call in Hebrew functional? Is there any function to what we have done? Has it been beneficial? Have our actions been functional? Have they been beneficial? Have they been tov? That's what function is. Or the function can be either good, as you would have in tov, or it could be evil or miserable. You got to ask yourself, what have I done this week of my work? Have I done tov, which is good, or have I done evil? Look at me writing in Hebrew when I should have been writing in English. Has it been beneficial? Has it been good? So from her break perspective, good always has to do with something that's working well and functional. Or is it still miserable, evil, miserable, meaning dysfunctional? So you and I have a choice to make. We could do the tov or we can do the ra, just like our ancestors of humanity chose to choose between tov and ra. They chose to know. They understand the functions of it. Okay. Elohim saw, what else did he see? He saw the cycles. When he talks about he saw it was good, he said this on every single day except for the second day. He said it on the third day. He said it on the fourth day. He said it when he made vegetables. He said it when he made animals. He said it all these different times, but he never said it on the second day. And I asked myself, why? Why didn't he say it? I don't know yet. Okay. But I understand that what he saw it was good. It was functional. It worked well. And what's working well are the cycles of life. What's working well is how humanity was going to be able to survive in the place that he created. What also works well is that which has order. You understand? So where did we get this idea of order? Well, it is the very first thing that the Most High spoke. He spoke this into existence, and this is called Or. Okay, just like you say or this or that, but in Hebrew, or is spelled very closely, very similar, but we have a letter E on the end of it, and it means light. And that light, I'm going to tell you what it means here in a second. Okay, so this is what Yah started the whole project with. The whole renovation process had to begin with or. Okay, so why did he have to start with or? Why didn't he start with anything else? Because at the time there was nothing but darkness. There was Koshek. And so Koshek lends us to say that nothing can function well in Koshek. There's really not a lot of life that can happen in the Koshek. I mean, you can live, but you can't thrive in darkness. Okay, right? He had to bring an order, a social order to the life cycles. He had to bring order to the seasons. He had to bring order to the rivers and the lakes and the ocean. He had to bring order. And this is the reason why light was important. And this is the reason why the Most High said, why he or and it was an existed light. Yes, Mashal.
I was gonna say that with the light comes warmth and heat, and with the darkness
Yes.
comes cold.
Oh,
Cold.
yes. Yes. And it has its function. Okay. But you're absolutely correct. We need those things. So now let's find out what or is. Okay. So it says for the commandment is the lamp, right? It's a lamp. The Torah is the light. This is what we find in Proverbs 6:23. And the reproofs that discipline are the way to life. Now, Hebraically, okay, not just abstractly through the idea of saying light, from our understanding, or means a box. That's what it means. Okay, so I want you to keep the idea of creation or the idea of bara in your head, because bara means to fill, right? So Yah says that he has filled or is going to make full the earth. So what Yah says is let there be light, meaning let there be or, why he or, and there became a light, and light from that perspective means a box. Well, how do you put light and a box together? The understanding Hebraically, or means box for storage of items, and you use the light, meaning light only functions when you're using it for something. So the purpose of light in the case of a box is when you store items and you have storage of items, you have to put items inside of a vessel or a box. You need light in order to arrange them in a certain order, which gives you the idea of organization. The last part of this word order, der in Hebrew means order. So not only or means order, or to bring order, der means order. Okay, so the fact is the Most High was looking at the earth as a box or some type of vessel that he was going to use to store items, to put everything in it. And so if I'm going to fill something, I'm going to and make sure that it is full. I'm not just going to throw it in there. I'm going to organize the box. You understand? I'm going to organize what's inside of the box. I'm not going to just throw stuff in the box just to be junky. I'm going to organize it. I'm going to make sure that it works well. Hebraically, too, there's a connection between the word or and stall. A stall for animals, where you would put them literally in a box or a stall or a tent or a covering in order to protect them. So when we talk about Yahweh is bara, when he's filling the earth and he's making it full and he's organizing it, he's putting a stall together in order to protect that which is inside of the box and put it in an environment that will be protected. This is the reason why he's created a rakia. This is the reason. The only way it's going to work is when Yah has made some separations, as you can see. And when things are done in a proper way, they function well. You see, animals are put in a stall in order to train them, and not only to protect them, but to give them a safeguard, a safe place in order to deal with them. Sometimes as individuals, sometimes you have to set them aside for a little bit and work with them. Okay. And him could be able to examine it, the animal. Okay. Also, too, the last point is to gather. This is what you're doing. So when Yah was gathering, like we have storage items, Yah is gathering all the different items that he wants to place in his earth, in his project, in his renovation. So he begins it with the idea of or. This is the basis for the renovation. This is the basis for the change. So if Torah is light, and you and I have the ability to be able to capture this and to be given this idea of light, we have been given an opportunity to arrange our lives in a way that's functional. That's what the Torah is supposed to bring, function. We have the ability to be protected about things. This is the reason why the Most High is gathering us and arranging us and putting us in a stall or putting us in a box in order to store us away so nothing bad can happen to us. And that happens through Torah. It is the first thing that the Most High had said to begin the project. I want you to know today, there's a purpose for you and I to be called. Yah did not call you and I to be overwhelmed by trouble and by grief. He's called us in order for us to overcome. I need you to hear me and hear me well. Yahweh says, I, Yahweh, called you righteously. I took hold of you by the hand. I shaped you, and I made you a covenant for the people to be light, to be or. This was in your Haftarah. This is the connection. I called you to be in righteousness. I called you to be a light to the people. Not just so you can shine. I called you to be a light. And you and I understand what light is. It's not the light in the New Testament. This light here is about order. It's about arrangement. And it's about function. And why did he give us? I've given you as a covenant to the nations, the Goyim. That was in your Haftarah. That's the purpose. So we can overcome in order to change the outcome for these people. Not just for ourselves. This is a huge responsibility for a son or daughter of Israel to understand and take upon themselves to know that I have shaped you. I've shaped you. Yah said he's made us by his hand in order for us to be a covenant, to be in agreement with the nations. The only way that he'll ever have a covenant with them is through you and I. Not a covenant with a man who died on a cross, who died for your sins. Because we understand the light that he's talking about is a light of function, a light of organization, and a light of what? Protection. In order for us to begin the process for the renovation that needs to happen for these people, you and I have been called by Yah. So when you look at Genesis chapter number 1, don't get caught up in the biblical story like you're at Sunday school. Understand that you are the light that Yah wants for the nations. You are the instructions. You are the one who's supposed to bring the Torah to the nations. That's the reason why you and I were called. Our work is profound. It says that I am Yahweh. That is my name. I yield my glory to no one else, nor my praise to any idol. That's in your Haftarah. Why is this important? Because in your Haftarah, he begins to tell us about the very things that you find in Genesis chapter number 1. Darkness was mentioned in Genesis chapter 1 called Koshek. And it wasn't until the light was introduced in order for the work to begin, for the process to begin. The idea of darkness in Genesis number 1 tells us that you is void and you cannot understand, you can't see anything. So when Yah introduces a light, he's introducing a Torah. If he's introducing the Torah, he's introducing the covenant. If he's introducing the covenant, he's introducing not only that light, but the children of Israel, who is a representative of the light. So when he said, let there be light, he wasn't just saying it just to say it. He wasn't saying it just to create the heavens and the earth. He was not just to organize it. He was saying it because he needs someone to do this work on the earth, to open up the eyes of the blind, because the blind are the ones who are walking around in darkness. It is not until the light of the Torah is given to them that the truth will be revealed of what Yahweh's purpose is. You and I are in a creative work. This is what I need you to understand. It wasn't just the work that he did in Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. It is the work that Yah's intention was for you and for me. You and I have not been able to see that. When you look at the heavens and the earth, and you look at the trees, and you look at the rain, you look at the clouds, and you hear the thunder and the lightning, and you see the stars, understand that you have a role to play in Yah's creation. If the sun is revealing Yah's heat and its warmth and the ability to grow and to bring light, you wouldn't be able to see nothing if it wasn't for Yah's sun. And I ain't talking about no man. I'm talking about the very ball of fire that's outside right now is going from one end of the earth to the other. That's running its race. You and I have to reveal the truth of who Yahweh is. And he's going to use you to do it. What is the truth? What is it that Yah wants to reveal? He's revealed everything else. He wants to reveal the Torah, his judgments, and his rulings. Not just for Israel. Yes, it says in Psalms that he's revealed it to us and he hasn't given it to any other nation. That's just because it wasn't the right time. This is supposed to be given to the nations. Because the nations are in chaos, like you see in Genesis chapter number 1. They're prisoners held to what? To their idolatrous practices. To Christianity, Muslim, New Age, all these different things. Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, all of them. Thousands of different religions. And they got it all messed up. And you and I have been given the opportunity to do the work for Yah. You see? So they're going to say, we've inherited nothing but lies. They have false saviors. Christianity is not the only one with a false savior. There's a whole bunch of other religions that they believe that these people are their saviors. There are even people right now in Israel, in the land of Israel, that are in a land or a place called Dimona that called a man, Ben Ami, their savior. and they're living next door to a nuclear plant. Do you understand? That's where they're living, next door to nuclear information, nuclear products. Our job is to move the nations out of idolatry. And we're not going to do it now. We're going to do it when Yahweh says it's time. But you and I need to understand why you're doing what you're doing right now. You're not doing what you're doing today because you're just Israel. You're not doing it today because you want to be saved. You're doing it because you understand that when you and I fall in line, when the Most High brings us back to our land, he brings us out to the wilderness first to be cleansed. Okay. He's brought us into exile to find out which one of you would fear me and want to do what I say, in order to glorify the Most High on the highest level possible, because that's why everything exists, is to glorify and praise the Most High. We do that through the acknowledgement of his power, through his salvation, in which he has given to us through out of the land of Mizraim, and all the other times that he's delivered us. And the ultimate deliverance that will come from us all over the four corners of the earth. We're going to acknowledge the power and the presence and the provision of Yah, and he's going to use you and I to do so. And once we get it, then they're going to get it, because he's going to use us to bring glory to himself. He's going to use us to cause the nations and ourselves to sing the proper praise and the proper songs to the true and living Elohim, to the true King, thus fulfilling the heavens and the earth's destiny and all of its inhabitants. There's not a true song to be sung to the Most High Yah with Israel still in captivity. This is the reason why you would notice when you read, it says, let the heavens rejoice and let the earth sing aloud and cry with a loud voice, for Yahweh has delivered and comforted his people. There won't be a true song until we are out of the situation that we're in right now. You understand? So this is the purpose behind everything. And I know it gets exhausting. I want to share a testimony of someone that you and I used to talk to, and we used to fellowship with. Some of us, not all of us. This is what this man named Paul, whose name used to be Shaul, he changed his name to Paul. Okay. This is what he said. He said, he has rescued us from the domain of darkness and transferred us into the kingdom of his dear son. It is through his son that we have redemption. That is, our sins have been forgiven. He is the invisible image of the invisible God. He is supreme over all creation, because in connection with him, we're created all things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones, lordships, rulers, authorities, they have all been created through him and for him. He existed before all things, and he holds everything together. He is the head of the body, the Messianic community. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he might hold first place in everything. Talking about this image of the invisible God. This is complete falsehood. If you notice, he uses a lot of the words that are in Genesis. Yes, Michelle.
The real question is here: how can anything be born from death?
Yeah. Well, how about this? It says that he existed before all things, and it says that he holds first place in everything. He's the Rosh. He's the chief of everything. So if this is the case, let's just ask the question and see if it's true. And I called it falsehood, so let's see if it's true. Let's just look at it. Have you been rescued from the domain of darkness?
No.
No, you haven't, have you? Have you been transferred into the kingdom of his dear son?
No.
So where are we living at right now? And this is written thousands of years ago. So where's the kingdom of his dear son? Oh, they say that's in heaven, but we know that to be the sky. It is through his son that we have redemption. So Have we were not sold as slaves? So are we redeemed?
No.
Oh, he says that is our sins have been forgiven. What sins? What sins have been forgiven? The shagagas, what has it been? The accidentals or the ones on purpose? Because if it's accidental, then there's no need for anybody to die. And if it was on purpose, then you could get your sins forgiven when you committed a crime against the Most High on purpose? Huh. Did Yah say make any image of him? Deuteronomy 4 says, don't make any image of a male or female or nothing on the earth, which goes back to Genesis chapter number 1. Anything in the heavens above or anything on the earth beneath or anything beneath the earth. That is in your covenant. No. It says that he is supreme over all creation. Yah says, I'm the one who did it all by myself. There's no one. Even the seraphim in Isaiah chapter number 6 only call out to Yahweh's name. They don't mention the name of his so-called son. You see? This is all nothing but falsehood. And with that in mind, I want to help you understand something. I want you to understand the truth of a true testimony. What is the testimony of Yah? What does Yahweh say?
The 10 words.
Yes, it's his testimony, but this is another testimony. Listen to what Yahweh has said. If you are doing what is tov or good or functional, shouldn't you hold your head high? If you don't do what is good, tov, sin is crouching at the door. This means relaxing and laying down and waiting at the door. Okay. This is the first time that sin is ever mentioned in Genesis chapter number 4. This is the first time it's ever mentioned. Sin is first introduced right here. And I want to show you what Yahweh said about it. Yah said that it will be laying at your door. It says it wants you. Okay. This word wants you is the same word for wants you that was mentioned in Genesis chapter number 3, where it was a punishment for the woman. It says that your desire is going to be to your husband. This want you right here is not want you. It's not desire sexually. It's none of that. What it's talking about is it's going to want to control you and run you over. It's going to want to overwhelm you. It's going to want to go past you to do what it wants. He says, but you can rule over it. This word rule is my good friend named Mashal. That's the name right here, rule. That's what that word rule means, Mashal. Mashal means to have dominion. So let me ask you guys a question. What did Yahweh just say? Just read it. What does he say? You can rule it. You can have dominion over what, Akika? What can you have dominion over? Over sin. So why do you need another man to die for your sins? Why do you need anybody to stand in your place when you have control? If Cain, which they have in English is Cain, and God empowered him, he said that you can overcome this. You can overrule it. You can control it. It wants you, but you can control it. Did the Most High empower him, or did he make him disabled?
He empowered him.
Right. So he did not disable Cain. These are the first time, or this is the first time that the Most High has ever spoken about sin. And this is the rule because this is the time that's first mentioned. First mention gives you the background and gives you the backdrop on what you can do. So you can rule sin. For those who are watching live by stream, YouTube, you can see this. You have power. You can be an overcomer. This is the reason why the Most High said, if you do good, can't you hold your head up high? So it's in your power. It's not in somebody else's power. Yah did not pass the responsibility on anyone else, like you saw Adam do, and you saw Kua do. What they try to pass the buck. Well, what have you done? It's a snake. It's the serpent who did this. Well, what happened to you? Why'd you do this? Oh, the woman that you gave me. See, Yah took that away. It's not about that. It's about what you can control. In conclusion, I want to talk about the chosen. You and I have been chosen. Okay? And we are chosen as a possession. What it means is that Yah has put his name and his signature on you. His reputation is connected to you. And this is the reason why he's asking for us to live lives that is worthy of him. We understand as a possession of Yah's, Yah is in a process of continual refinement. So there is no, I'm just going to do something on you and that's it. So there is no magical formula that all of a sudden you can speak some words in a prayer service or come to an altar and say these words and everything is washed away and then you're brand new. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work where Yah says, I'm going to give you my spirit and you're going to be 100% perfectly fine. Doesn't work like that. Did Moses have the most high spirit? Yeah. Did he make a mistake? Yeah. You understand? So is the spirit making a mistake or is the human being making the mistake? Mistakes are part of the process. They're errors and we're prone to make them. Of course, we're supposed to be careful not to make the same ones over and over again. But the bottom line is it's a continual refinement. As you being Yah's possession, there will be a continual refinement in your life. Okay. And also too, because you are his possession, you are going to be honored and exalted. Right. At this moment, we're not, but that time is coming. Secondly, you and I have been chosen to be witnesses. Okay. The idea of Akkad is to say that Yahweh is one. That is in your Shema Yisrael. And this is what everything is about. It's about you being chosen to be a witness, to testify to the fact that everything that Yah has done is unified. Yah is one. He's not many. He's one. You're supposed to testify and witness to the fact of Yah's redemptive power. He's the only one who can do it. You will be the example that he uses to show his redemptive power for one group of people. Yes.
The word Akkad, the first time we see it is here in Genesis, correct?
Correct. Day one.
And day one. And then we see it again in the Shema.
Yes.
Is there anywhere else that we see it, or we only see it twice in the whole?
No, I actually saw it with I saw it with what's his name? I saw it with Adam and Kua. I saw it with them that he says let the two be one. They're going to be Akkad. Now let me break that down since you brought it out. So in Akkad, everyone, out of these letters right here, we see a wall, which is this, and then a door. Okay. The first letter is the Aleph, which is the strength. Okay. And so we're going to deal with the actual root of the word, which is that word right there, Kad. And what Kad is, this is a wall. And the Dalet, the next letter, is the door. Okay. So the door and the wall. So the door and the wall. Okay. That's the family. That's the father and the mother. Okay. So there's a door in the wall. And the door in the wall is to open up the door to get access through the wall to another location. Okay. So what it is that you have, say, a tent. And you have the tent has doors. Okay. Right. So here's the tent. And here's the door. It comes split by this thing right here. Here's one side and here's the other side. Okay. When those tent doors are open, okay, let me use a little eraser. You have access into the tent. You can go into the tent. Okay. Let me show you. You can enter the tent right here when the door is open. Okay. Once the door is open, okay, this is the inside of the tent, correct? You go on the inside of the tent. If the tent door is open, then that involves the outside with the inside. See? It unifies the inside with the outside. Okay? Hear me on this. You have children, put your children away, cover their ears. All right? So check this out. Akkad. What Yah is talking about, everyone, is making Akkad means to be unified or means one. So what he's doing is he's unifying the outside with the inside. And it's through opening the doors. It's giving access. Okay. Think of a man being the outside, and you think about a woman. She's the inside. You follow me? And there's a door between them. Okay. And so right now there's a separation. And then once you open the door, you get an opening. The man has access to go in. Okay. Go into her. Okay. Through the door. And then the two shall become one. They become echad. So the idea behind echad is unification. And what it means is giving that which is on the inside access, or giving that which is on the outside access to that which is on the inside, where they can be unified, but it has to go through the door of the tent. That's the only way you can get in, is going through the door. If the door is shut that you have right now, say the door is shut, you have no access. So as soon as this door gets shut, there's no access. You can't go inside. So when we talk about how the Most High unifies, he's trying to unify us with him. He's saying that, okay, you're out here. You're outside of my, and the tent represents the family. So you are outside of my family. Okay. And it's not until, remember what he said? He said that I have revealed myself to you. So what he did was he opened the door. And okay, so he's inside of the tent. You are on the outside of the tent. And then he turns around and says, well, I revealed myself to you, like he's told Israel. I revealed myself to you. Okay. Here's me, and then you're on the outside. Here's my tent, my family, my tabernacle, and you're on the outside. The moment that he opened that door, you have access into there. Okay. What's inside the tent? You got the 10 words. You have the Ark of the Covenant right in here. Okay. Which is his testimonies. So Most High is literally saying, when he spoke to us and he gave us the words, and you remember he said, before you guys come and see me, I need you to bathe your bodies, and I need you to wash your clothes. And I need the men, don't go near to your wives. Why? Because you're going to come near to me. Now me and you're going to be intimate. So if I invite myself to you, or I invite you into my home, and I reveal myself to you, and I talk to you, and I tell you these things, now me and you understand that it's only me. There is no one else. See? So now we're joined together. So when it talks about us being witnesses, you're testifying to the fact that you have access to Yah. You're testifying to the fact that you only know only one Elohim. You're testifying to the fact to the whole world that there's only one Elohim and there's no one else. You're a witness to the fact of his redemptive power. You are testifying to the instructions through the Torah that was given to you. You're also testifying to the fact that there is a separation, which we would call a division, that you find in Genesis chapter number 1, where the Most High says there's certain things that he has divided. I divided the waters from the waters. I divided the water from the dry land. He divided the light from darkness. He made these divisions. He's made these separations. So you're witnessing, you're testifying to that. And the world doesn't understand these ideas. Only you do, because I revealed myself to you. So the goal is to be able to help the world understand this. Okay? They're going to see Yah's redemptive power because he's in relationship with us. And then once they understand that, then they're going to receive the instructions that we're given. We're going to give it to them, because they're not going to have access to Yah without going to us. They have to go to us, just like we didn't have access to Yah except for going through the high priest. You understand? So there's different levels of set apartness and divisions. The Most High has made a division and separation out of the tribes. You understand? So that idea is always going to be there. So that's never going away. Okay. Now I have here about you being a servant to the Most High, which we all want to, right? I think this is totally excellent, because this letter bet right here means house, and this letter right here means to walk. So here, to walk, see the little legs right here? That's the little legs on a camel, and to reveal. So here's the deal. The Most High is saying that, listen, you're going to be my servant. You are my servant. It's not your, okay, so let me be clear. We are his servant, okay? But we're not in service, okay? And the reason for that is because we have blind spots and there's things that we're not listening, talking about a nation. Okay, remember, it's not about the individual, it's about the whole nation. The witnesses up here is not talking about an individual. Not talking about Jehovah's Witness. I ain't talking about you just witnessing, going on the streets. I'm not talking about IUIC. I'm talking about us as a nation. When I talk about possession, I'm talking about nation. Okay. So here, the servitude here is saying that, look, you guys are blind and you're deaf, and also you're fearful. Okay. And you are, he said, telling us, like he told us in the Haftarah, don't be afraid when you see what I'm going to do, because you're my witnesses. I already told you that I'm the one, and I already shared that with you. So when you see everything I'm about to do, you won't be amazed. Okay. You're going to be afraid, but don't be, because I'm the one. I'm your savior. I'm the one. Okay. But he also talks about how, because we're blind and we're deaf, we're not able to be in service to Yah at this point. That's unless you and I want to consistently tell everyone that we're Yah's servant. And when he said that you're blind and you're deaf, and you can read this in chapter number 42 and 43 and 44 of Isaiah. Okay. So he's telling us that you can't see and you can't hear. You see a lot of things, but you don't fully understand. You hear a lot of stuff, but you can't perceive. Okay. And the reason why that is the case is because you and I suffer as his servants from selfish ambition. And what do you mean, Akika? The selfishness on our behalf is this: we don't understand the bigger picture. This is a problem with us as a people. We think because we are gaining and we're only concerned and content about what we're doing to ensure our own success. And we're not really thinking about everyone else. We only see ourselves as an individual. We're not looking at ourselves as a nation. When you see this picture of this individual, don't think of just you. Think about everyone else. Okay. That's how Yah sees Israel. He doesn't see Israel just as like I said, the nations are a multitude. He looks at us as one individual. Like Moshe said, hey, are you going to kill everybody like you would one man? You're going to strike them all dead? So Israel to Yah is one. Okay. Just like he's one. He's Echad. Okay. So you and I are suffering from selfish ambition when we're not seeing the bigger picture. Give me an example, Akika. Here's the example. We see that we're Israel. We see that we're Yah's chosen. We see that we're his possession. And we brag and boast about all those different things. But one of the things that we don't understand is that the Most High created us and formed us for him in order for him to bring the nations to him. And we can't allow this to be about us. Okay? Yes, Sister Pam, Akoti.
Is it because we're in the state that we're in right now, as you said, as servants, but not in service, blind and deaf, fearful and selfish ambition, that we are quite incapable right now to be a light to the nations?
Yes, absolutely. That is so profound. Yes, that is true. This is because we don't have what it takes, right? And so okay, so just imagine this, and I want everyone, and I'm gonna make a joke out of it. So just think about it. Yah, you were Yah's servant, right? He says you're my servant, but you and I are blind and we're deaf. Okay, so Yah tells us to go somewhere. What does a blind and a deaf servant do? What can they go? He asked them, go get me this. Can they bring him some water? You know, I got in a big argument with someone the other day because they insist on saying that they're his servant and they're in service to the Most High because of their pride and their selfish ambition. I'm doing this. No, a lot of us, no, I don't care about what a lot of us are doing. I'm looking at the whole overall picture of what the Most High wants for the whole entire nation. God doesn't want some of us to serve him. He wants all of us to serve him. It's like, for example, in your home, you might, in your family, you might be like the one who's serving the Most High. No one else is. When I say service, I mean, you're reading your Torah and all this other kind of stuff and nobody else. Would Yah would rather for me just to do it? Is he ready for everyone to do it? What is he really looking for? He says, I asked you to turn your heart all the way to me wholeheartedly. And now you got your children. I want them to turn too. Did he say just you? No, he talks about everyone. Yes, Michelle.
I just want to bring up the point you spoke on last cycle, one of the classes of the last cycle, that none of us can be in true service to the Most High until we are restored to the land, because we can only serve Yah in the land.
That's it. And that's a hard thing for us to understand because we haven't been taught properly. Again, I said last week that we've been putting a lot of pressure on ourselves and others because we're afraid. We want things to be right. We really want to go back and we want to be at home with Most High. And we're thinking that, hey, just, do your best, do your best. That's what the guy's telling me. Just, as long as we do but we're doing the best we know how to do. So that's to be acceptable to the Most High. That's not acceptable. Jeez, how long is it going to take for us to understand that? If he said, I want it this is the way I want it. How dare you come and tell him what you're going to give him if he said this is what I want? So if he wants it a certain way, he will provide for us to give it the way that he wants. Just like he wanted Abraham, go sacrifice your son. Then what Yahweh did, he provided, because that's not what he wanted. He wanted this. He didn't want him to sacrifice his son. He wanted to see his heart. So he gave him what he needed in order to sacrifice. You understand? What did he tell Pharaoh? Send my people out so they can come out and worship me. But now we got everyone saying that they're worshiping and they're praising Yah the way that they want to be, that he wants to be worshiped and praised. Because they want to feel better about themselves because they're still bent on selfish ambition. You'll do whatever it takes for you to succeed when you really don't care about the whole. That's the problem. So we need to accept this. Okay? I got to speed up a little bit. Okay? So here it is. I want to tell you about the pain that the woman was experiencing. Okay? So we can all get this out on the table. We can find out what it is. He said, I will greatly increase your pain with your childbirth. You will bring forth children in pain. Your desire will be towards your husband, but he will rule over you. Okay. That word rule again is mashal right here. Just like he told Cain, you're going to rule over sin. Okay. Just like he says that she said, your desire wants to be, he says, sin's desires to run over you. Okay. The woman, this is what she's going to want to do. She's going to want to run over you. That's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to run over your husband. But Yah says he'll rule over you. That is a punishment. Hakika, why are you so passionate about this? Because I want you to understand something. Men really don't want to rule over our women. This wasn't the case. We didn't want to rule over you. We didn't supposed to rule over you. This wasn't Yah's plan for a man to rule over a woman. That's not Yah's plan. New Testament. Wives, submit to your husband. This is the right thing to do in the Lord. That is not Yah's plan. So if the curse was broken, then she shouldn't be able to submit. They should be able to do things together because they're a God. They're joined together. And I'm going to show you that. Okay? So why is her pain important? Is it so man can figure out how he can leverage this and take advantage of his wife and say, I'm going to rule over you? Look, I don't want to rule over my wife. I don't. I do not want to rule over this woman. Okay? I do not want to rule over her. I would rather for her just to do what I asked her to do. How about that? How about she's just trying to do what's best for all of us? How about that? Why do I have to try to figure out as a man when I can find out how to rule over my woman? Why can't she just go ahead and just say, well, you know what? Let's do what's best for us. Okay. So the woman was not ruled by her husband. That's not the original plan of Yah. That's not part of his plan. That's part of a punishment. Okay. So when is this punishment going to apply? The punishment was given and applied to her when she went against what the Most High has said. Because at that moment, she ran over her husband. She did what she wanted to do. And the reason for that now, the consequence of going past your husband and wanting to run over him is that's when he's going to rule you. When you give up that idea of trying to control, rule, and overrun your husband, then he won't have to rule over you. That's how you get out of it. Period. Okay? The pain. You can see. I have Hebrew words up here. He said, why is this important? I want you to see this word, 2 letters. They're exactly the same as these two right here, and they're exactly the same as these two. Okay. So if they all have both the same letters and some with an extra few letters, then they all must have the same close meanings. Okay. The first word is called eitz. Okay. The second one is called atzmot, and the next one is called eitzah. And I'm going to show you through Genesis chapter number 3 why her pain is important. Because Yah is using her pain. Matter of fact, her punishment was spoken of, and then he stops the teaching on that, and then he begins to tell the man about his punishment. So there's something that he wants us to see. We have to pause and think about what he said. So her pain is this. Okay, it's in her childbirth, but it's deeper. The eitz. Okay, she received this pain because of the eitz. Okay. Matter of fact, the word pain right here is associated with this word eitz. Okay. So, and I'll explain it to you. It says, you may freely eat from every tree, right here, eitz. Measure for measure. You're going to eat from the eitz, the tree, okay, in the garden. But the tree of knowledge and good and evil, okay, except for that tree, you're not going to eat of that tree. All right. You are not to eat from it, because on the day that you eat from it, it will become certain that you will die. Okay. A lot of people take that and say spiritually, they spiritually died on that day. No, they didn't spiritually die on that day. The process of death began with them for their bodies. Okay. When the Most High talks about the pain right there, he's talking about what's going to happen in her childbirth, which deals with her bones. Okay. Which is our next one, which talks about the bones. Okay. Because her bones begin to expand. Okay. It says that the person said, meaning the human being, at last, this is bone from my bones and flesh from my flesh. She is to be called woman. Okay. Isha, because she was taken out from man. Ish. Okay. And then, of course, the last one is called Eitzah. And this is the kicker. So I want you to see the connection, because if all the words are connected, then all their meanings have some type of connection. How blessed are those who reject the advice of the wicked and don't stand on the way of sinners or sit where the scoffers sit. Okay. That is in Psalms chapter number 1, right? Which talks about the Eitzah. Okay. So Eitzah is advice and counsel. Okay. So we got the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is that which is functional and that which is dysfunctional. Okay. The tree, again, is in this word Eitzah. Okay. Eitzah is counsel. So what they did was that tree that the Most High gave was a tree of counsel. And he's saying, I don't want you to take the counsel of knowledge and good and evil. I don't want you to take this counsel. I don't want you to know about it. Because the moment that you do, you will begin to die. Okay. They didn't know what death was. Okay. They have no clue what death was. Okay. How is it connected with the tree? Because your bones are connected to the tree. Most High says you're going to feel that pain in your childbirth. That pain is the expansion of her bones when she has a child. Her hip bones, all of her bones in her lower body goes out of socket. Okay, so if her hip is misaligned, her other parts of her body is going to be misaligned. Her pelvis is going to be misaligned. It then will put pressure on the knees, the feet, the ankles, everything. You understand? The back, her lower back, all these different things. So that's where she starts feeling this pain. So what we find here out of this example is that if one is to begin the process of having pain in their life, it is simply because of what it was that they did, which was they take the counsel. That's where it all begins. Okay. So your bones are connected to the tree, because you're just like a tree, believe it or not. The Most High decided to use the word eitzmot for bones. Okay. And bone comes from eitzah, or eitz, which is a tree. And eitzah is the counsel. Okay, so the trees were not just trees for fruit, because it says the tree of knowledge and good and evil. What it was is the tree of counsel. So we got to be careful about the counsel that we take. Okay, and if you remember in the Psalms chapter number 1, it says that, you know, blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the ungodly, right? That's that advice right here. Or he doesn't sit in the seat of the sinful, right? Or he doesn't stand in the way of sinners. He doesn't sit in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his Torah he delights day and night. He shall be like a what? A tree planted by the rivers of water, right? And whatever his fruit, he'll bring forth his fruit in its season. So it tells you that a man shall be like a tree. Why? Because the Most High looks at a man like a tree, because a man bears fruit, he has his own type, all these sorts of things. But also, too, is the counsel. So I wanted to just show you the connection between what it was, because they took counsel from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. And as a result of that counsel, this is why this pain is here. And the way the Most High decided to hit the pain is in the bones. Okay. So for her, she gets the childbirth pain for the counsel, listening to that. And her punishment for desiring to run over her husband, and that's the reason why she did that, is because instead of her saying, I want to be equal with you, listen to me, because my desire is to be your helper and to be equal. And I mean equal, meaning bone of my bones. When it talks about bone of my bones, what it's saying, we have a shared purpose. The man said, we're bone of bones. Whatever I experience, you experience. We're connected. See? So being connected is greater than hey, I'm 50%, you're 50%. It doesn't mean that. It means we're one, we're a cod. So every time we look at each other as a family or a man or a woman, you have to stop looking at each other as, and I say we, should stop looking at each other as being separate. We are not separate, we're a cod. Instead of us looking at us as individuals being separate from the group, I don't have anything to do with them, we're all part of the same people. You should be grieving for people that don't know the Torah, because they're part of the whole and they're just part that's sick. Okay. So the idea of being a cod is found in the idea of being bone of my bones. You understand? So if she's going to experience this pain through the childbirth, and she's going to be bringing forth these children, and how she's going to have to deal with her children. There's a lot of children that brought pain to their mothers. Okay. And this is found in us. So it's not just the pain of the child and childbirth, but it's also the pain that we're going to find out that goes a little bit deeper. Okay. So this is the reason why this is here. It's something I discovered. So we talked about her pain. Let's talk about his pain. It's only fair because they're bone and bones. They're outsmoked. They have the same bone. Okay. Because you listened to what your wife had said and ate from the tree, which we know now is counsel, right? Which I gave you the command or the order, you are not to eat from it. The ground is cursed on your account. Okay. So now I'm going to curse the ground on your account. So the ground is cursed because that's where you came from. And you will work hard to eat from it, or actually her, as long as you live. And it goes on to talk about you're going to return back to her, to the dust from where you come from. So when he talks about working hard, okay, for him is the same word that was used for her pain. It's called itzabon. Okay. The itzavon is what we call your bones or your pain. So his pain is not going to be experienced by giving childbirth, but his pain is going to be given through hard work and labor. As you saw in your Torah portion, Lamech lived 182 years old. His name means power, by the way. That's what Lamech means, power. Okay. He lived 182 years old, and he fathered his son, and whom he called Noach, right? Which means restful. And he said, this one will comfort us in our labor, in the hard work we do with our hands and get what comes from the ground, that Yahweh was cursed. So it confirms the fact that the Most High did not curse the man, he cursed the ground. But as a result of the ground being cursed, you're now going to share in the curse. Okay, so you're not cursed. Yahweh's mercy is, I'm going to go curse you, I'm going to curse the ground. I'm going to put the pain in your bones. Because again, you see the 8s right here. That's your bone. So she has pain in her body. You're going to get pain. So she has pain in her soil, which is her body. And then the earth is going to have pain too. She's not going to bring forth. And you're going to do everything you possibly can. And all you're going to get from the earth is thorns and thistles. Making reference to all the hard work that you put into this, you're not going to get anything out. And Yah continues to tell us about what that means. Okay, so what that means is that in your Torah portion, it says that Yahweh regretted that he had made humankind on earth, and it grieved his heart. So if you look at that word right there in Hebrew again, atzav, okay, you don't have to remember how to say it. Just look at the letters. I'm just trying to show you the connection. There, that 2 letters right there, the same 2 letters that were in itzabon, the same 2 letters that were in 8s. The same 2 letters that were in Eitzah, the same two letters that were in Asmot, which you have right here, same two letters. Okay, so it's connected. So what's connected? Grief. So he's telling us that Most High says he was grieved. So when Adam had did what he did, what it did was it started a cycle of grief, not only for humankind, but it grieved Yah that he made humankind, because his intent was not to make humankind to be grieving. It was his intent to make humankind to have joy and to have happiness, as you can see today. So, right? So when he talks about bringing Israel into this relationship with him, the Most High is grieved by what we've done. He's grieved by what he sees. And so we don't really take the time to think about it, because we said, well, that's an emotion. The Most High don't have emotions. The Most High is the creator of emotions. So the Most High has put the Atzav into the Itzabon. And so every time someone does grief, or they do labor and they do hard work, they're grieved because they're not getting the results that they're looking for. So when we apply this to where we are in our life today, a lot of us are working jobs, going to work, raising kids, like the woman and the man. And after all the hard work you do, you get nothing. You don't get what you deserve. You don't really get the benefits from it, from the work of your hands. That's why Mashal had mentioned earlier, he said, well, we're not going to be able to do what we need to do till we go to our land. And when you go to your land, that's when you're going to be able to benefit from the work of your hands and your labor. So even at this point right here, we're still grieved. So when someone says, like Paul did in his testimony, that you've been delivered into the dear kingdom of his son, you're suffering right now while you're in your place of work and everything right now. And, for them, it's perfectly okay because someone died for their sins. But when we talk about the life that we chose with the Most High, the life that the Most High chose for us, is to say that my plan for you is not a life of grief. The grief that you have is because of the decisions that you've made. The grief that you have is because you wanted to follow the Eitzah. You wanted to follow the Eitzah of, which is the counsel of other people. You wanted to listen to the other voice that told you that I said something that I didn't say. And what you've done is added to what I said instead of following the commandment. So you're following the counsel of others. And that's the reason for your grief. And that's the reason for your pain. That's the reason why you're working in a hard job. So none of us at this point have been delivered from grief. We haven't been delivered from hard work. We haven't been delivered from childbirth. None of us. So it still continues. Okay. But there is going to be some relief. Okay. The relief is this. I found some relief for us, just to kind of let you know, if you chose to listen to what Yah has said and take the counsel of the Torah, your heart will rejoice at the sight of your bodies. They have bodies in English, but I looked it up in Hebrew. It says bones, because your bones will flourish like newly sprouted grass. It will be known that the hand of Yahweh is with his servants, but with his enemies, his fury. So there's coming a time where one's bones, which will allow you to not feel the grief and the pain any longer. Okay. When we get into our land, okay, your work will not be in vain. Right now it is. Okay. So that's the connection. Not only did we talk about it. Yes, Michelle.
No, I didn't raise my hand.
Okay. Kel?
Yeah, that was me. I just had a question, an insight, because uh really what I'm taking from this is that uh the human race is really, we've been dealing with our consequences of like always doing what we were, like basically everything that we've done to this point is a consequence of our actions, like from eating the tree and breaking the covenant with the Most High. But I was just like, as you were speaking about the pains, I was just wondering, before all of that happened, do you think that men and women were more like equal to each other, like strength wise or everything else? Like, because you talk about the pains of the woman and the pains of the man, and all of that is a consequence of like us following the woman and then the woman eating the fruit. So before all of the curses happened to the land and to the woman and the man, uh, do you think that we were more equal as like men and women?
I would say not from strength wise. I would say mentality wise. I would say because the Most High said that He set the woman in front of the man, and that word and front was mean neged, and it means directly across. So every time the man was looking at the woman, he was looking at himself. Okay. So it's not a matter of him being strong, or they're unified, right? So you can't have one part, the counterpart, that's stronger than the other. They have to be balanced. So when we think about strength, we need to really be talking about balance, right? The Most High's purpose of the woman was to help the man, and the woman comes from the man. She's not some separate entity that he made made not for the man. He made the woman from the man, just like how the tree comes out from the earth. So there's that connection. What has happened is that the part of man, because when we talk about a woman, Black people like to blame the woman, right? You really have to blame, if you look at her name, right? If you look at her name, just look at her name, Isha. But okay, so she is an Ish. Okay, she's an Isha. Okay, she's an Isha, and he's an Ish. Okay, so she's part of him. Okay, she just has the ah. She's the feminine. She's the ah of him. She's the ah. She's the softness. She's the gentleness. She's the like you have. I'll put some other words up here. She's the ah. Look, Torah. She's the ah. She's the meats, which we know is the commandment. She's the meats what? The mitzah. You understand? Okay, she's the kukah. She's the nefesh ka. She's all the ahs. Okay, she's the kokma. Ah, you understand? So her job is to do things, is to move. She's part of the Adamah. Okay, when we talk about Adam, he was from the Adamah. Okay, so Adam by himself, that's what man is, Adam. Okay, maybe I spelled it wrong. She's the Adam. He's the Adam. And then she's the Adamah. You put the ah on her. Okay, so she's the power force behind Adam. She's the substance of that. So if you think about the ah is the substance of the man, the substance of the Torah, the substance of the commandment. Okay, the substance of the man, the Isha. Okay, so that ah. Okay, just Adam by itself, there's no ah, there's no real instruction. There's no real service. Okay, because the nefeshka is the soul and it's feminine. So if you look in Hebrew, all the femininity is about something moving, something active, something helpful, something necessary. Okay. So remember, he said like he couldn't find that. He said it wasn't good that man should be alone. So Adam without a ah, okay, it's Adam. He came out from Adamah. Look at me. Hold on. He came from Adamah, right? That's what he came from. So when he became Adam, what got scratched out of him was the ah. And what Yah put back into him was an ah, which then would be the Isha. Yah put the ah back in him. He was by himself. He didn't have it. So the ah is the other part of man, the part that he needs. That's the part that helps him, the ah. You see? So that's what he needed. And that's what she was to him. So to answer your question without going in so many different places, her role and responsibility was to be a counsel. Okay, listen to what I'm about to tell you. 8 is the bone. That's the bone. What was the woman? What did he use what did he use for the woman?
The bone, the rib.
He used the rib, which is a bone. That's why he said he's bone of my bone. So what he was saying is she's 8. She's 8. She's the counsel. But here, check this out. Let me put it in here for you right here. She's the eighth, and look, she's the bone. Now I'm gonna put the ah on her. There's the ah right there, Eitzah. That's what she is. She's the ah. So now she's not only my bone, she's my counsel. That's what a woman is. So if you take these vowel points out of here, get rid of that, and erase that, it's still counsel. That's the word for counsel. It's Eitzah. Advice. So when Yah was taking her out of him, he was giving him a counsel. Counsel, right here. Here's the evidence of it. Right here. Ah, counsel. She's advisor. That's what she was to him. It's what he needed. Okay? And the Most High gave her to him. See? So he took the very substance of him. So because she's the very eighth of him, Yah makes her an eitzah. He makes her from the bone of him. Right? She's one of the branches from him. She is him. You understand? So whatever they do, they share together. So it's not this idea of individuality is where we're having the problem. Okay? I mean, respect the individuality, respect the, that, but the fact of the matter is, Yah's purpose was for them to be a God. She was going to be a counselor to him. And because she failed, which means he failed. See, we're saying she failed, he failed. Stop looking at she failed, he failed. When we talk about the Most High, he said, and I'll go back to it so I'll make everybody feel a little bit better about it. When he said that your husband will rule over, your desire is going to be control your husband. That means your counsel now, you've lost the ability to counsel your husband because what was wrong with you, individual part of man, Adam, Isha, your whole desire now is to go beyond what the commandment was. Because you went beyond, your husband listened to you. He didn't listen to the Most High. He listened to you. He listened to his inner self. That's what he listened to. So we say he listened to the woman. He listened to his inner self. The woman is nobody without him. She came from him. He listened to himself. She was doing him a favor. It's doing them a favor. And as a result, Yah says, guess what? You lost that ability now. You don't have ability to counsel no more because you went beyond the commandment. Isha from Adam. You went too far. So we say that she did, it's him. It's both of them. Can't look at them as individuals there. They're one. They both suffered. Okay? Her pain is his pain. He's going to experience it. She's going to experience it. Period. Now, let's get to our pain. In fact, it was our diseases he bore. It was our pains from which he suffered. Yet we regarded him as punished, stricken, and afflicted by Elohim. But he was wounded because of our crimes, crushed because of our sins, and the disciplining that makes us whole fell on him. And by his bruises, we are healed. Isaiah 53. Often in the Christian narrative, they're making you and I believe that this is talking about someone else, like Christ. The fact is that the pain that they're talking about, our pains, these are the kings and the nations of the earth speaking about the pains that Israel is suffering. They're talking about the punishment that Israel is going through, how they're stricken and afflicted by Elohim. And they're saying because Israel is wounded because of our crimes, the crimes and sins that they've committed against Israel. They're crushed because of our sins, because of what they're doing to them. And he said that the disciplining that makes us whole fell on him, meaning what Yah's intention, Yah's allowing them to do this in order for the discipline that's supposed to go to the nations is happening to us. It's falling on us. It's falling on him, the Israel, the servant of Yah. And the bruises that you and I are receiving allows them to be healed. You say, well, what do you mean? The woman's pain, the man's pain, and all of our pain, whether we're a child or an adult, is all shared. It's all shared pain. The pain that the woman experiences is beneficial for every other woman and every other man and child, because they will eventually become, a man or a woman. It's just that what it is shared. Is bone. We're all bone to bone. Got it? We all have bones. Okay. And it's real. It's not just spiritual, it's physical. My knees hurt right now. You understand? So the pain that you and I are suffering as Yah's servant and what he's allowed for us to happen to us and the discipline that we're receiving is going to make everyone else whole. Because they're going to learn from our experiences. Just like you and I are to learn from our pains. It's only through pain. I don't have a slide here, but it says it's through pain that Yah and discipline and pain that Yah and hard labor that Yah says that he'll learn. That's the only way that we can learn is through pain. You understand? The only way that humanity is going to learn is through pain. Okay? It's not somebody getting hung on a cross, because you and I are still experiencing physical pains. We're still experiencing emotional pain. Okay? And so our pain is not only beneficial, but it's supposed to be not only an example to us, but to others. And this is the reason why the Most High has done this. So now we have our word itzavon, which deals again with the man and dealing with his pain that we read earlier. But here's what is said in Isaiah chapter number 49. It said, he said to me, you are my servant, Israel. That's what servant he's talking about, through whom I will show my glory. That's, remember earlier, he said he's going to show his glory through Israel, so the nations would see. But he said, I said, he's talking to Israel. I have said, I have toiled in vain. That toil there is itzavon, which Adam was given as an example. So when you and I are reading this, he's not just talking about humanity. He's letting us know what Israel has to go through because Yah is trying to teach humanity. So just the ground being cursed and the labor and the heart, that's not enough. That's not enough. He has to teach the nations through an example. And that example is Yahweh's servant, who is getting it right now. Okay? So the nations won't have to go through this. And because we're going through it, you and I will be counted worthy to be Yahweh's servant, because we've been the example to the nations. He says, and in vain, this is what we've said, but in vain I've toiled. In vain. I spent my strength for nothing, just like Adam, just like all the other people in Genesis. He says, for nothing, for futility. That's the reason why the Most High gave us the example in Genesis. What's going to happen? Yet my cause is with Yahweh. My reward is with my Elohim. Remember? He told Cain, if you would do what's right, then good things will happen for you. Your reward is with Yahweh, if you would do what is right. So your pain, my pain, our pain is for them to be able to be made whole. They're supposed to learn from all the wounds, all the bruises that we experience as a people, because they're the ones who are doing it to us. And the Most High is the one who has allowed them to punish us and stricken us and afflict us. Why? For his purpose. You say, well, this doesn't make sense. Well, let me give you an example. Not only this is a great example, but look about this in your life. Sometimes we want to question Yah about the itzavon. You want to be mad because of your pain or your suffering. You want to be mad because of wounds that you receive from the people you're receiving it. But we've never asked ourselves, is Yahweh using this pain to get someone else's attention? Not just mine. I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want to be used by Yah to experience pain. I didn't want to be used by Yah to have grief so I can be an example of how I should endure, or what it means to be stricken, or what does it mean to be pain and crushed. Because after your pain, your crushing, and your bruising, Yah says, I'm going to make you honored. I'm going to bring you up. I got to put you down first, then I'm going to bring you up. See? So we don't like the embarrassment, we don't like the shame of being punished or being bruised or going through pain. But Yah is using your pain to speak to others. It is through our pain that other people are going to learn what not to do. It's through our pain that the nations are going to be saved from themselves and be released out of prison, because you and I are going to learn the disciplining that we're receiving is going to make them whole. They're not going to have to go through it like we went through it. See? So it's a cost to be with the Most High. And so that's what it is. Okay. And that's through your pain. So your pain is not in vain. Your pain is not just for you, it's for others as well. So they can benefit from it. So think about it that way as well. Here's what Yahweh says. The Redeemer of Israel, the Holy One, says to the one despised. Again, chapter number 49, not just in 53, is talking about a servant that's despised, whom the nations detest, the servant of tyrants. So if you're a servant of tyrants, you're not in service to Yah. Why? You are in the nations. Because Most High told Pharaoh, send my people out so they can come out and worship me and serve me. You can't serve Yahweh on foreign soil. You have to serve him in the land that he has given to you and where his name is. His name is not in California, Texas, New Jersey, Atlanta, none of these places. I don't care how many times you say it. I don't care how many times you write it. I don't care how many times you sing it. It's not there. When kings see you talking to the servant of Yahweh, they will stand up. Princes too will prostrate themselves, because Yahweh, who is faithful, the Holy One of Israel, has chosen you. Who? The servant of Yahweh. Yahweh's servant is the one that Yah has chosen to go through this. It's the one that he's chosen to experience the pain. It's the one he chose to be wounded by the nations that are afflicting us so that they could be made whole. They weren't made whole by Christ being afflicted or so-called dying on a cross. They haven't been made whole. They believe they've been made whole, but they're in darkness. They haven't received the light of the Torah because they don't know the truth. They've been lied to and deceived. Bottom line, the pain that Israel will experience as a nation will be remembered. And also, too, he says that the servant, my servant, will succeed. He will be raised up. See, he, the nation, exalted and highly honored. Why? Because you experienced all this. Just like when you go into our Torah portion next week, it talks about what Noah did and how his father said he's going to deliver us and he's going to do this. There's going to come a time where the Most High is going to deliver his servant from all of the things that he's suffering. But your pain is not just for you, it's for others. You have to remember that. Your grief, okay? We talked immensely today, and I appreciate your time. I want you to know that your light, the Torah of Yahweh, is perfect. The Torah is light. It's or. It's perfect. That means that it's complete. There's nothing that one should add to it or happen on Yom Echad. That's when it happened, on Yom Echad. That's when Or was first given and introduced, order, and it's perfect. Tamim, there's nothing to be added to it. Nothing. It's complete. So you and I don't need any other light, especially one from the New Testament, or any other person who claims to have light. Because what Yah's Torah does, everyone, it says it's restoring the inner person. Now, this word restore here in Hebrew is called shuv, okay? And it's called mashuv. And what it means that it's actively, the ing is true, restoring, meaning that it is shuv. like that sheen. I'm gonna write my sheen again. I've been practicing my Hebrew. I'll write my sheen again. Nah, that looks like a backwards E. Shuv. And shuv basically means to return. So what it's doing, everyone, is this Torah is returning you back to Yah, the inner person, your soul. Your soul is returning back to Yahweh through the Torah. Your soul is returning to Yahweh through the light because you are coming out of darkness into light. Going back to the first day. You understand? Torah for next week is Genesis chapter number 6, verse number 9, all the way to chapter number 11, verse number 32. It's called Noach. Okay. Haftarah, Isaiah 54, 1 through 10, and Tehillim, which is the Psalms, chapter 20 to 39. Okay. I hope you enjoyed your lesson today. I hope that you were able to pick up some of the things that and ideas that Yah has revealed to us about who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. And how our pain is not just for us, it's for others, and how we're supposed to learn from that. I hope you understand that, we're not supposed to be divided as men and women. That's not Yah's plan. A man wasn't never supposed to rule over a woman. Never. Never. He was never supposed to rule over her. And you don't have to try to rule over anybody. Right? You don't have to do that. The only reason why that's the case is because if a woman, which is a man with a womb, if she decides that she wants to go beyond the commandment, then you have to rule her. That's the truth. If she's following the command and she's following what the Most High says, and she's given advice and counsel to her husband, he doesn't have to try to rule her. Instead of ruling, they can reign together. They can have dominion together. When the Most High said, be fruitful and multiply, and to replenish the earth and have dominion over it, he was talking to Echad. When he mentions the man and the woman, he didn't say Adam and Kuah. He said, I talked to the human being, which consists of a Zakar and Nekeva. They're one. The energy of the masculine energy and the feminine energy go hand in hand together. They were never designed to be separate. The man cannot sustain his purpose without the woman. You see? It's not that she can't have ideas. It's not that she can't be in control in any kind of way. But it depends on where her mind is. That's what it is. It says that the man needs help. He needs a helper. You understand? It didn't say that she needs help. It said he needs help. A helper to do what? Because he's weak? No. That's American. That's Western. Helper is support to achieve the goals that he wants to achieve. If she doesn't listen to me, she doesn't have autonomy. She doesn't have her own autonomy. You know how the women today believe because they have their jobs and they have their money and they have their bank accounts and they have this and they have that. They got their stuff in their name that they have autonomy, that they could do whatever they want to do. They don't see themselves as needing a man because you got women today and a group of women out here. This is the gender wars because of the way that the Western mind is to make you think that you don't need a man. And a man is so convinced now he doesn't even want a woman anymore because he doesn't have the support he needs. Because, he's a tyrant because he wants to go in a direction. See, so none of this, and here's the bottom line, None of this is ever going to be resolved. Not here. It's not going to be resolved here. I'm just going to tell it to you. And the reason why it's not going to be resolved, okay, it's not that it really couldn't be, because you could start living and doing the things that you need to start getting better. But ultimately coming into the whole total, idea about what it's supposed to be is only going to happen when you go back to the land. And a lot of people are okay with that. Me personally, I'm not okay with that. I really don't. I'm not okay with it. I'm grieved. Okay. And the grief for me is this, not for myself personally, but I'm grieved for our nation. Because even if the efforts of some, we have some good couples out here. I know Elder Bill Nazania is one of them. Okay. They are an example to our community about what it's supposed to be, from what I see and what I've heard. Okay. And there's others, okay, that show you that it is possible, that there could be some harmony. So I'm not saying you can't start doing this. What I'm saying is, as a whole, to resolve the issue, where not just where the woman is the problem, there's men who are a problem that you can't even talk to. You can't even have a conversation. They're so dogmatic and they're so treacherous that they can't even have a conversation. They don't understand this. There's men who don't even want to listen to the Torah, but they want all the benefits of a wonderful wife. You see? But this is a war that is unnecessary for our nation. If anybody's supposed to be example, it's supposed to be us. But when we stop looking out for the goal for everyone, and those of you who are not married, understand this. You want someone in your life that you're going to spend your life with that's going to respect your life. And they're going to respect you as a person. They're going to respect your soul. They're not going to do anything to try to make you feel a certain way. Because when they make you feel that way, it should make them feel that way. If they're not feeling what you feel, if there's no connection, when you guys suffer, you suffer together. When you go hungry together. When one of you is down, the other one is going to be down. That's what it is. And that's how we got to start looking at it. When you lose your mate, you're by yourself now. You lost your mate, your partner, your support. It goes hand in hand. See? So these are the things that the Most High is trying to get us to understand, to work on as a people. And it's going to take time, but it takes a willingness. So I just wanted to share those ideas that everything that we go through is shared. It's a shared responsibility. It's a shared pain. It's a shared suffering. And not one person's suffering is more than another. So, yours is greater. So, look at me, no, we're all in this together. And we should understand that. And we should humble ourselves enough to be able to just kind of relax and look at it and say, okay, well, you know what? Are we in service to the Most High? No. Well, why not? Because we didn't want to listen to his Torah. Am I trying to do something I'm not supposed to be doing? Yeah. Well, why? Because I'm not humble enough. And if we're going to be part of a collective, you got to understand that the things that you do can affect everybody else around you. But if you're so selfish, you can't see that. If you're only about you and what's important to you, and I can't look about nothing else, about nobody else, even me, even in my teaching, I got to be very, very careful not to be thinking about, well, how does this affect me? What is it? It's not about me. It has to be about us. And that's where the humility comes from. And that's where the discipline comes from. And that's where the seriousness comes from. I take this very, very serious. So you guys are not on my class because you're just some people that I come to my class, and I like to have, a couple of people on here and I can share some information with you. I dearly care about each and every last one of you. And I want you to know the truth about what's being spoken. I don't want anything that I say to move you in a way to where you won't have a meaningful relationship with the Most High. I want to encourage you. And sometimes I might say something that might be very corrective, like, hey, we need to change this about ourselves. It might hit you, it might hit somebody else, but it's still, I got to say it for all of us. And that's what it is. Okay. I took up enough of your time today. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. And, for those of you watching live by YouTube, I'd like to thank